Welcome to the Crewcast, the Crew's live podcast about video games and all things Crew. Join us and many of your favorite crew members as we review games, talk about the new Crew series, answer your questions, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Crewcast.
Welcome to the Crewcast episode 7 for June 1st, 2013. Today we have Piper, Giz, Danny, Boss, and myself here. And we're going to go right into the gaming news.
Alright, our first news segment. Doublefine is doing their second Kickstarter. And this one's called Massive Chalice.
Yes! Oh,
Now-
God. Looks so good.
Now, for those who don't really know much about Doublefine, Doublefine is a company founded by Tim Schafer, who is kind of one of the legends of adventure games and LucasArts early development. He was like there for a lot of the big, or the Monkey Islands, kind of all that stuff in the early days. I mean, he's basically a legend, but he's also very supportive of the indie realm, and their previous Kickstarter, which was hugely successful, probably one of the most successful Kickstarters for a gaming project. That one was looking to make $400,000, and fans backed it with $3.3 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So that's the Doublefine adventure. So they're doing it again, and this time it's Massive Chalice, which it sounds like it's going to be a tactical strategy PC game on an epic fantasy timeline. I mean, they have different levels of backing. I think $20 is the minimum, but you'll be able to get the game for free with that backing. So it's not like, it's in a sense like buying the game, but you're buying it early to support it. What this really does, and what Kickstarter and other sites like that are doing for game development, is they're giving developers the chance to make the game they want, and the fans who like it support it, and the developer doesn't have to worry about publisher deadlines, publishers taking cuts, publishers forcing rules upon them or changing the project at will, or the timelines and all that. So I think it's an awesome way of doing things. And it's even better when it's an established company that you know is going to come through on the title.
Yeah, it definitely is. It really gives a feeling like it's going to be a really great game. They're going to put like their heart and soul into it. I'm really excited. Like the video as well was hilarious, I thought.
Yeah.
Really well made.
Yeah, it was good.
Tim Schafer has got quite a funny sense of humor. I know when they were doing the Doublefine adventure and it started getting high up there, he put like a video out where somebody's asking what they're going to do with all the money, and he was like lighting like a cigar or something with the with money and all these different ways of wasting money. It was all a joke.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a really funny guy, and they're just a great company, very supportive of YouTubers.
I do think this game as well, Massive Chalice, actually sounds like it's going to be a brilliant game. The whole point of like the timeline going on and your warriors aging and dying, and you have to kind of marry off your people to make new warriors and like bloodlines and stuff. It sounds really good, and I'm looking forward to it when it finally comes out, because we know it's going to get backed. It's probably going to get more than it even wants anyway.
All right. Let's also talk about something that's coming out here in a couple weeks. We wanted to mention it on this podcast because I think next week we're going to be doing a lot of pre-E3 like predictions. What do we think is going to be happening at E3? And then, of course, the following week will be kind of like the E3 shows or whatever. So The Last of Us is coming out in a couple weeks for the PS3. So I know there's quite a few of us who like the looks of this game. I think, Giz, you're one who was, liked it. I mean, obviously you don't have a PS3. But
Yeah,
I
really want to get PS3 for this game.
So you want to give maybe a little summary of what Last of Us is and your thoughts on it?
It's kind of like, I think it's kind of like a zombie apocalypse type thing, and you play as a guy helping a girl get to a safe location. You're kind of exploring the destroyed like New York-esque areas, but like ruined. So like it's got all vines climbing up and stuff, and all the cars are broken down, and you've got to kind of get from one place to the next, and it's kind of like a survival-esque game as well. And it just looks brilliant. I think there's bandits in it as well that you have to kind of face off against as well as the zombies. So it's kind of like DayZ in a sense, but it's not. It's kind of a lot more story-driven, and it just looks brilliant. The graphics as well look fantastic.
Now this is by Naughty Dog. And do any of you guys remember any other Naughty Dog games?
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Uncharted.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're a developer. They've done a variety of things, but they've been very classic games, what they've done. Everything I've heard from, like, the press, and, I've read that from the press who have played, like, early copies or seen this, just say that this game is everything we expected it to be. So there's a lot of hype about this game. So, I'm really looking forward to this one hitting. This was one of my picks on when we were doing the podcast on Twitch for one of my games that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, I thought I'd seen the trailer before.
Yeah, it looks just fantastic.
Yeah.
Realism as well, aspects of it.
All right. Ubisoft, favorite company of Gizmos,
Yay!
has a new racing game coming out, and it's called The Crew.
Awesome name.
What? So if we do a Let's Play, it's going to be The Crew plays
Who plays
the
the
crew.
Now, this is, in a sense, them working on a next-gen racing franchise. They want to kind of go up against some of the other, like, juggernauts at this. Need for Speed, Test Drive, Forza, Gran Turismo, all those types of games. So they're trying to get into this genre. I'm not a huge racing game fan. We played Blur some just because it's kind of fun to go head-to-head. But I much prefer games like Blur or Mario Kart where you have weapons of some type. I don't care about shooting. If it's a turtle shell, I'm shooting to flip your car, or if it's a rocket. But I much prefer games where it's more about combat than just like. I know Piper's an F1 fan. I mean, those games really don't interest me because it's really just more about racing around a track.
Yeah, I have to say I agree. Of the sorry, Danny, the Formula One games, I don't think I could play. I have got F1 Race Stars though, which is like shooting and stuff, isn't it? I haven't played it much actually.
I like both types of the games. I think it depends on my mood. I do like the Blur games, definitely with the combat and stuff. But I used to play like Grand Theft Auto Racing Online and stuff, and there were two versions of it. There were like GTA mode where you had like weapons and stuff, and then strict racing where there was no weapons. And I like both of them. I think sometimes it's good to just like have proper normal racing.
I do like Gran Turismo. I think I played. I remember what number it was. But my dad's a big fan of it, so I've grown up with all the different versions, I think.
Nerd.
Love the F1 games.
Number 4. But yeah, that's quite good, because you've got something to achieve, and then you go on and buy like the car, and then you beat your dad at games and stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
Now, it should be noted, this Ubisoft Racing game, The Crew, is not confirmed. It's kind of like a leak that GameSpot had, and we'll have links to this and all the other stuff we've talked about. So there's no 100% confirmation that it is going to be a racing game from Ubisoft. Sometimes games are, development starts and development's canceled. And it may not end up being called The Crew. We just don't know. We can only hope.
Oh.
Yeah, we can hope, so we can say, hey, we're The Crew. Can we play The Crew?
All right, so now we're going to move on to crew news. So one of the things that you guys may have seen that changed, but it really didn't change in a sense, was our website now doesn't say The Hill Software. It's called Crew's Gaming Channel. We could call it The Crew's, whatever. I mean, I can change it when I want now. But this is basically a new feature that YouTube offers people to link their YouTube with a Google Plus page, be it your own page, be it a identity page, or I think a group page. They have like 2 different categories. I forget what they're called. We went with the one that's more kind of like for a group or a company. But what it does is it lets us change. I mean, we can change the name. Like we could call ourselves The Crew, live streaming for charity channel when we're like doing like a 24-hour live stream. So I can change it at will. But what it does is it integrates it into Google+. So we also now have a crew Google Plus page, and I'll have links to this type of stuff. Some people were a little confused because they like seeing The Hill Software. The page itself doesn't change. If you still go to youtube.com/The Hill Software, it takes you there. But now you also can, we think it's a little bit more specific. I mean, we're not just a Minecraft channel, and The Hill Software really was just, it's funny because I have The Hill Software on YouTube. I forgot my password when I was first setting up to upload video of Lizzie, me, and Paige playing. So I went, I'll just go with The Hill Software.
That's you. I wondered who that was. No, I didn't. I've never heard the story ever.
We've got videos
it's got videos
uploaded
of us
on
playing.
there.
So yes, The Hill Software was kind of not in my intended, I never thought people would start watching our videos and we'd be where we are now. And then because it grew to the point it was, it's like, well, if I create a whole new channel, no one's going to subscribe to it. All of our people are subscribed to the current one, so I'm stuck with it. So, we're still The Hill Software, and if people like that name, because I know some people do, that's fine. But we like to have a little bit better branding because we are not just a Minecraft crew, we're just the crew, and we love playing games, so we're basically a gaming channel. We might tweak the name a little bit here and there if people give us feedback. But we're kind of liking the integration. I like Google Plus. We do the Facebook page. I like Google stuff better. It's not quite as crazy as Facebook is. But you can subscribe or follow us on the Google Plus. You can subscribe or follow us on Facebook. Come on the forum. Lots of different options. I just think it's cool. We're just starting to mess with the Google Plus stuff, so you'll see more stuff being posted on there. I posted a link about the Indiegogo thing, so I think you're going to see us posting maybe, in a sense, more little crew info and news or feedback. It may be like one of the crew has something interesting that they want to talk about. Maybe it's like a game that interests them that's out. That might be something that's not mainstream enough that we're going to do, but it interests them. Well, they can post it. So
That's cool.
Yeah, we think it'll be pretty cool. And our last little bit of crew news, Swippen, who's a friend of the crew, had talked with the developer of the Death Cube plugin, and I think the developer said that the current plugin does in fact work, even though some people have been saying it hasn't with the current version of Minecraft. So I put the plugin on the server and installed it, and Swippen went ahead and did the commands to set up a cube. So supposedly, I have not even been on yet, there is a Death Cube on our game server. If you're not familiar with the game server, what's on the game server, Piper?
On the game server, we have a Spleef arena, we have a PvP arena, we've got Mob arena, where you get transported into this big arena and all these mobs start randomly spawning, and it's hard. And then we have a Capture the Flag area that me and Giz built, and a few other people, and it's really cool because you got to try and get the flag, and there's a bit of fighting going on with other people and a bit of strategy involved. And we've got I'm going to say this wrong, a Batman parkour type thing, which is really good, and I am so awesome at it. Basically, you hit the sign, you get transported into this big pit, and you've got to get out, and it's really, really hard to do. And we got extreme grass growing as well.
Oh, God, don't mention it.
Okay, you can cut that out.
No, we won't talk. We'll talk about it. I keep saying that one of the things I want to do is make a plugin. I've tweaked previous plugins for our use, but it's like maybe I should try to develop the plugin because Extreme Grass is so simple. It wouldn't be much of a plugin, so it'd be a great plugin to start. Get your feet wet starting from scratch. Yeah. But however, if there's some expert programmer out there that knows bucket plugins off the top of their head and wants to make a extreme grass growing plugin for us, send me a message. But anyway, that's kind of crew news for now. We're going to move on now to our main segment. Now, this was a topic that Giz wanted to discuss. So, Gizmo may have a lot to say about this, but basically our subject is, can movie reboots work? The answer is no. We're done.
I think it's more black and white than that. There are some that can work and some that don't work. I think it's it can strongly depend on like what kind of movies they are. So,
Examples?
Okay, I've made a few lists. Okay, so let's start off with kind of like superhero movies and the superhero franchise.
Don't do Batman. Don't do Batman. Don't do Batman.
Oh, no, I'm starting with Spider-Man, right? Okay, so the original Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Like, obviously 1 is better than 2 and 3. Come on. So they were good movies, and then they got rebooted. I mean, what do you guys think of the new ones? Have you seen the new one? Have you seen the old ones?
Seen the old ones? Go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was saying, I've seen the old ones, but I haven't seen the new ones. But the old ones aren't that old. It was like, what, 2003? It's like 10 years ago. That's not old.
Well, I mean, I think what happens, though, in some cases is the old ones obviously progressively got worse. I think the third one was a steaming pile of poo swimming in a river of poo. And your lead star decides that he's done with it.
Maguire.
So I think sometimes certain things necessitate a reboot. You know, it's very rare to see like a series switch lead actors playing the same role. That doesn't happen very often in a series. So you kind of can say, well, it happened in like Iron Man when what was the guy's name? Terrence.
Oh,
played Brody, and then Don Cheadle.
I don't know his name. I know who he is though. I don't know his name. Yeah.
So I mean, but that's a minor character, so it's not as big a deal. And Cheadle's obviously a bigger star, so that may be one of the reasons they did it. Not that the other guy did a bad job in the role, but I think sometimes that forces the reboot. I have not seen the new one, the new Spider-Man. I haven't heard too many bad things about it, but
no.
I don't think it could be worse than the third one. The second one was okay. The first one was good. I thought the
first one was excellent. Yeah, the first one was brilliant.
I think a lot of it though is like depends on the thing. If you're going to talk Batman, I mean, I was going to say.
Well, the next one is Superman. So the old Superman, the original Superman movies, with Christopher Reeve, I believe, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was about 4, wasn't there, or so?
Yeah, the late Christopher Reeve, sadly.
Like obviously, the first few of those are fantastic. I think the later ones kind of were a bit.
A bit what?
Then a few years passed, and then we got Superman Returns, which was a completely new reboot of the franchise movies. And
I don't think it was, though, was it? I thought it was the one with Brandon Roush.
Yeah,
I thought it was supposed to continue kind of with what had happened in the early ones. It was more of a continuation of the existing stories.
Maybe wrong then, but as far as I remember it being, it was horrible. Remake. Yeah, it was horrible, but it was like a remake that he left and then came back and his father was dead or whatever. Blah 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 blah. It was terrible, basically, though. But then obviously this year we have the new one, the new Superman film,
which I saw the preview to when I went to see the new Star Trek.
Do you think this Superman film does look like it has potential to be really good?
Well, I think what sometimes happens is they can't get worse. So, I mean, I think this one does look pretty good. I mean, the one with Brandon Roush was worse than like the worst ones with Reeve. But Christopher Reeve was excellent as Superman in the first couple. I really enjoyed the second one, especially with the Kryptonians fighting him.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. I think the re-edit of it that was more in the vision of the original director, and I forget who directed the first Superman, but he kind of got removed, I think, from the second one. But they put out Donner, wasn't it? They put out his director's cut of number 2, which kind of got rid of some of the cornier aspects of number 2, which was still a great movie. And then when you get to 3 and 4 or whatever, it kind of got really bad. When they brought Richard Pryor into, I think, the third one, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I saw them when I was really young, and I remember them.
I only know the one with the guy as a villain who needed solar power.
Yeah, I think that was number 4, wasn't it? Quest for Peace or something
like that.
That
was awful.
So far it's kind of like 50-50 or so. So the Batman movies. Obviously we have the original Batman movies, which like the first 2, just fantastic in my opinion. And then it kind of dwindled a little bit. I like the Poison Ivy one, kind of. Mr. Freeze one, but it's not great compared to. It wasn't great.
That was horrible.
It was fun. It was.
Well, but I think
childhood.
I think The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, all the
Batman
that
Begins
destroys
stuff.
the original Batman movies. But I think the original Batman movies were more comic. They weren't as serious.
Yeah,
even the first one. The first one's the only one I liked. I thought everything else was downhill. The second one was definitely decent, and I think that seems to be the pattern. Generally, when a reboot occurs, the first one's good, second one's decent, and then they go downhill. But I think that like Batman Begins was good, but I think The Dark Knight was better. And then I think the last one wasn't that. It was okay. I didn't really think it was that great.
And apparently they're wanting to. I heard this as a rumor. I heard they're wanting to reboot the Batman franchise again in movie form.
Well, of course, it's the quest for more money.
But it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I mean, I understand in the sense that the comics reboot themselves quite a lot. Like, you have Year Zero again and stuff when the story resets and stuff, like the timeline resets. But wait a few years at least. Give it a chance to kind of settle, and people will want it then, not straight away. It's like regurgitating over and over again. So going off the Heroes movies now, Star Trek films. Obviously, Buzz and Piper are quite big Star Trek fans.
I am the Star Trek fan in the crew.
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen them all.
Do you have like the best opinion of this? I think Buzz. Have you seen the new one yet as well?
I saw the new one. I took the wife to it.
Ooh. Right, so wait, first of all, let's talk about the originals. What do you guys think about the original Star Trek movies?
Well, I'm the only one that's seen the original Star Trek movies, I think.
What do you think of them?
The first one, obviously I'm old enough to have seen it when it first came out. It was okay. It wasn't great. The story was a little It was great at the time because this was a show that was canceled, a TV show, and now brought back to the movies on the big screen, and which made sense because of the Star Wars was popular at that point. Second one is probably one of the top two. The Star Trek II Wrath of Khan is one of the top two Star Trek movies of all time. Some points I say it's better. It's the best movie, counting the Next Generation movies. On the other point, First Contact by the Next Generation crew is up there too. But the third, it's kind of a joke with the original Star Trek crew. It's like the odd ones are the horrible, the even ones are good. But I don't, like I said, I've seen all of them. And the second one was good. Third one was Search for Spock, was garbage. Fourth one was The Voyage Home, which was good. Fifth one, I forget, Undiscovered Country, or Undiscovered something maybe. And the sixth one was like I don't remember. Sixth one was the one with I think the last one. But it was good. It wasn't great. The crew was getting pretty old, so I think they needed to have walkers by that point. I would have liked to have seen better Next Generation movies. The Next Generation movies, besides the Borg one, they're all garbage. I mean, they're not worth watching. Go ahead.
Then obviously, after that, we have the new quotation mark rebooted, because technically, don't shoot me for saying this, but technically, it's canon, but it's not canon. It's kind of
not canon.
It technically is because
they changed the universe.
It's a separate split timeline, but it's in the universal story of it, so it's not like a brand new reboot. It's kind of a reboot in the sense of it's a new universe, but it's in the other. You know what I mean?
Well, I haven't seen the one that's out at the moment, so I can't say like what the fallout is from killing all the Vulcans in the first one.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
And that's not true. It's not true anyway.
Is it not? Well, I haven't seen it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Supposed to be on Monday.
what I'll say without being a spoiler on the second, I like the reboot. I think it is a reboot just because you're taking an existing franchise that is known and loved characters, and you're putting a whole new spin on the universe. You could say it's a parallel world, all that, so it's not really a reboot, but it's a reboot for the fans because you're taking known loved characters and known loved stories and being able to start wherever you want. I enjoyed the first movie. I enjoyed the second one. I don't think they're better than Wrath of Khan or First Contact, but they're good. And I like the idea of a reboot because the Next Generation movies were horrible. I don't think anyone would pay to see a Deep Space Nine or a Voyager movie, except maybe two or three people. They weren't popular enough. The Next Generation crew, I think, had their chance. The movies weren't that great, besides First Contact. So I love the reboot. I think the only issues I have with it is I think they're trying to be, instead of being a new identity, which is what they've set themselves up for, a whole new reboot, they still rely on stuff from the movies and the other universe too much. Some of the characters are almost like a parody, it seems like, of the real character. Scotty and Chekhov may have had funny accents, but it seems like they push it to extremes in this one. I don't get the connection between the characters like there was on the original. I mean, in the original, they did their bold mission to go where no one has gone before. They 5-year mission. They had already been on that, so they were an established crew. But I mean, Kirk, Bones, Scotty, all these guys, they had a great. They acted well together, and like Next Generation, it seemed like they were probably actors who enjoyed each other anyway, but it came across on the screen. I don't quite get that on the new series. Now, it may be the new movies, but it may be because it's a reboot and they're kind of all thrown together onto the Enterprise instead of having that 5-year mission already. But they just don't feel as good as the originals who played the parts together. I think they'll build their own identity, but my biggest issue with the second movie that just came out, too much from the other franchise. Too much stuff that it's like, do your own thing. It's a reboot. I fully expect what we'll see in the third one is going to be the Borg. And I think that's stupid.
I love the Borg. So.
I love the Borg, but it's like, do something different. Don't keep using all the stuff we've already seen. The Borg was done beautifully in First Contact and on the TV show Next Generation.
How on earth are they going to bring the Borg into it when they're in the Alpha Quadrant and the Borg are in the Delta Quadrant? How's that going to happen?
Maybe Q shows up, or maybe a wormhole. A wormhole can send you anywhere. The Borg could advance quicker in this timeline. You just don't know. I think that's going to be the next thing. Is going to be the Borg, because I mean, and I can't say much else because it'll start being spoilers. And it's not like there's a spoiler I'm saying that's going to say the Borg are coming. I'm not saying that at all. This is 100% my theory. But it's like, quit doing stuff from the existing franchise. And if they do the Borg, it'll be from the Next Generation. Do something different. I mean, you've already set yourself up to be a different universe with a whole different path. We don't need all this overlap and all these shout outs and everything to the old stuff.
Yeah, it's going to make Piper angry.
I can obviously you've seen all the Star Trek stuff and you have a strong opinion of it, but I think I've kind of seen bits of the Star Trek films and especially the episodes like Next Generation. I've seen quite a lot of those episodes when I was younger. The Borg, I remember the Borg, so that kind of excites me that maybe they're coming into a new universe type thing. Seeing them, how they might interact with these new characters. I say new characters, you know what I mean when I say new characters. Like the new, younger version of the characters. But I definitely can see that maybe rehashing of old things might kind of be annoying. But I think Star Trek kind of can get away with it in the sense that this is not a completely new thing again. It's kind of the same universe, but it's a fresh version of the universe. Those stories are existing in that universe, in a story sense of the word.
I'll disagree. I mean, I liked this movie, the second one, but it was so predictable. I avoided all spoilers about this movie, and literally 15 minutes in, I made a call, meaning I made okay, this is this. And then 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, I said, okay, this is going to happen in my head. I'm not telling my wife this. And I mean, I pretty much called 3 or 4 things. And then there was one or two other things. I'm just it just made me cringe. It's do your own thing.
Yeah. I'll have to watch it and we can have a discussion at some point, boss. And so, another thing is the Planet of the Apes movies. Obviously, we have the original Planet of the Apes. There was 4 or 5 of those, I think.
No, I think there's more than that, wasn't there?
Yeah, and then there's like a whole TV series and another movie set of them. But like that's kind of original set of them. And like the first few of those, they're just fantastic. Like the ending of the spoilers, but that ending, the ending of one of the films is iconic. I think, isn't it?
Yeah. You're talking about Charlton Heston, right?
I think so. It's the ending, the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the spoilers. I don't know why I'm saying spoilers. It's like however many years old. Then obviously, it got kind of rebooted in a sense with the new version of it, which was kind of terrible. Where they had that massive war thing, and it was just CGI infested, and it was just But then we got the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I thought was fantastic. I think there's going to be a sequel to that as well.
Yeah, that one was good.
So I think it's like you say, it's kind of like it can depend, like the originals, and then it's remade and it's garbage, and then remade again when it's good. I think it depends on what you do, like what the filmmakers do, and what kind of story they add to it, and how they kind of take the story. Like with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, they kind of made the story focused on obviously the apes and how the apes came to power and how the apes kind of evolved, and the start of that story. And obviously the sequel's going to, I hope, explore that more and explore the growing of the community of the apes and stuff, and how they kind of take over the world more. Obviously with the first remake of it, it was focused on the humans, and it was like the space exploration. It was just like, what? And just, it wasn't good.
I think it all comes down to if it's a good script, any reboot can work. I think what generally happens, though, is once a reboot occurs, generally things start to head south.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if they get lazy or if it's just really hard to be successful once you've done one. Sometimes a reboot or a second or third movie might be, I think, rare. It's rare, like, at least for me, Batman Begins, great movie, Dark Knight, better.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
And I think the third one, probably for me, is a little worse than even Begins. So I think that'd be my order. So I think it can happen differently, but I think sometimes, like with the Planet of the Apes stuff that you're talking about, I mean, obviously the original movies, all those were from way back. The first reboot was horrible. But I think what happened, the reason the second one was better is because they attempted a reboot. They didn't have a very good script. The story was bad. And then they got new people to work on the next one. And I think those people came in with a better script and better ideas, and therefore it was better. I think at a core, that's just really what it comes down to, is what kind of script do you got. I'm hoping the new Man of Steel is a good movie.
Yeah, I am as well. The trailers, the latest trailers especially, look really, really good. So my final thing, I've heard a rumor they're wanting to remake Gremlins.
Well, for you that might be a problem, but
yeah, I can see so many new gigs. But the thing is, those two movies were so cute, and they stand up today, in my opinion. Like the puppet work that went into them. That's what makes it so charming. Is the puppet work in those films? It's fantastic. Now it's going to be CGI and just. It might be good, I don't know, but I'm going to predict it's going to be absolute garbage.
Was that great for Gremlins?
Oh, I love the second one. The first one, I think
you've got a high investment into it, obviously. I don't. I mean, I don't think Gremlins, I think it's got two things going for it when it comes to a reboot. One, it has been, something new. It's not like it's rebooting Spider-Man, which just was finished. It's a very 80-ish movie series, so a lot of people aren't really even aware of it. And second, it was the first one was rather big, but the second one didn't do as well in the theaters. But I don't think it's like a classic that's going to freak people out if they reboot it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're heavily into it, and I'm sure there's others that are.
I would prefer it to be a continuation, like Gremlins 3, and then people will go, Gremlins 3, what's Gremlins 1 and 2? And look back on the old movies, and then see those old movies for the brilliance that they are, and I don't know.
For those who don't have a clue why Gizmo might be invested too, the one gremlin in it, the lead
The
gremlin,
Mogwai.
is named Gizmo.
Isn't that who you're named after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on now to our next segment. These are the ones that people, I think, I've heard some stuff from people they enjoy, ideas where they get some deals of the week. So we got two that are very closely related in the fact that they're both from Humble Bundle. If you're not aware of Humble Bundle, it's a great project that was started where the Humble Bundle group talks to developers of games, gets them to allow them to sell the game, and then they bundle a bunch of like games together, and they let you pick the price. You can bid $1, and you'll get the games. You get usually Windows, Mac, and Linux versions of pretty much everything. You can choose, so no matter what platform you're on, these all generally work with all of them. You can either download them in DRM free form, or in the case of most of them, you can get Steam keys. Now, one of the things they like to do in these is they like to add stuff to the bundle as the days or weeks go on. Usually the bundles run for 3 or 4 weeks. So if you bid higher than the current average, generally when they add stuff, you'll get it also. So you don't have to even go back. So the beautiful thing too is the money goes to the developer, goes to the Humble Bundle people, and it goes to charity. And you can adjust the percentages, how much you want to go to charity, how much you want to go to the developers. So it's kind of neat that you can kind of adjust that yourself also. They've done very well. I mean, lots of indie developers, even Doublefine has participated in this. A lot of them have had games that come out, and I mean, developers usually make a decent chunk of change from these bundles. The current bundle that just came out this week has these 5 games if you bid at least $1. Or pay, I don't want to say bid. The first game's Little Inferno. Then there's Awesome Knots, Capsized, Thomas Was Alone, and Dear Esther. Now you'll get all 5 of those if you pay at least $1. If you pay roughly more than $6, you'll get a very amazing game out that's really hot indie game, Hotline Miami. And then also you'll get, I don't know if it's Proteus or Proteus. I'm not sure on the exact pronunciation. But you'll get those 2 if you bid or buy into it for more than $6. And that average fluctuates based on how much people are putting in. You also get the soundtracks as downloads for most of these games if they have soundtracks. You'll get Steam keys, you get direct downloads. And then, as I said, if the average, if you beat the average payment, you'll get Hotline Miami, Proteus or Proteus, and then if they add anything else, which I'm sure some game or 2 will be added before it ends, you'll get those too. So really cool way of getting some great games at a decent price, whatever you can afford, and you're going to help developers, the Humble Bundle people, and you're going to help charity.
Yeah, it's very good.
Any of these games that are in this first one that you guys have played that have any comments on?
Awesome Knots is awesome.
Awesome Knots, yeah. I've played it as well, and I like it. I mean, if I wouldn't have it and I've seen videos before, I would buy it, definitely.
Yeah, I've got about 3 or 4 of these. Hotline Miami is really fun. I didn't think I'd like it, but it's really just so cool and weird. Love it. Awesome Knots is a great game. All these games are good games, but this, a lot of people say, how do you get a lot of Steam games, or how do you have so many Steam games? Well, I buy a lot of bundles, and these are great bundles. So I definitely encourage you to follow the link. Go to humblebundle.com, check out this one, and also our second deal. And this one's even cooler, I think. This is a weekly deal, so this ends in a week. But they have where you can do the same thing, where you have to pay whatever you can. You'll get the Back to the Future adventure game from Telltale, which is pretty, if you're a fan of the movies, which they're great movies, these are pretty well-respected adventure games of the movies. Sam & Max Devil's Playhouse, Poker Night at the Inventory, Hector Badge of Carnage, another 2 here that I love, Puzzle Agent 1 and 2. I know a lot of crew play these.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really fun. Wallace and Gromit's Grand Adventures.
What?
Oh,
Is that good?
Supposedly it's
Love-
decent.
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
And
Not
if you
even Wednesday.
Cheers.
if you beat the current average right now, or whatever the average is when you purchase, it's around $4, like $3.90 or something. But if you do beat that average, you'll also get the Walking Dead adventure game.
Oh,
These are all Telltale
Ooh.
adventures or
yeah.
Telltale games in this bundle. So this is a great bundle. I mean, if you're hurting for money, $4 or $5, you're going to get the Back to the Future, which is a series of just like Walking Dead episodes that make up some great adventure games. Puzzle Agent 1 and 2. I like Poker Night at the Inventory. If you don't play cards, you probably don't care. Sam and Max is funny. Might be a little edgy depending on your age, so your parents may not want you to play that. I'm not sure on this one because I haven't bought it yet because I just saw it today. And I have some of these. On the previous bundle, you get unique Steam keys for each one. I'm not sure on this one. I'm assuming it'll probably be the same way. But these are some awesome games. I know Giz is a huge fan of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I can't highly recommend Walking Dead enough. I mean, if you're younger, maybe talk to your parents about it, but it is kind of it's really, really good. The Walking Dead, the storyline to it, the gameplay of it is fantastic. I can't wait for the sequel.
Piper, you're a big Puzzle Agent fan.
I am. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like this little guy, and he's it's really hard to describe the atmosphere of the game. It's got really good soundtrack to it, the music, the puzzles, and it's just and everything, like Hot Fuzz, the movie, where everything seems to be normal, but yet underneath there's like this tone where it's not normal at all and something's gonna happen. Kind of has that feel to it. And it's a favorite among crew. I think most of us have got a copy. I think all of us have got a copy actually. Yeah, it's really good.
I think the closest comparison I could give for Puzzle Agent is think of it as kind of like an adventure game where you have to solve puzzles. Some of them can be tricky, some of them can be rather easy, but the world you're in,
Scoggins.
Do what?
It's Scoggins.
Well, no, the world that you're thrown into, I mean, they call it Scoggins. It's Minnesota, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's if you think of the movie Fargo and the TV series Twin Peaks, it's just a weird world. The people are kind of odd. There's like a mysterious like evil or thing going on in the town. It's not like a scary game, although some people got scared by the gnomes that I've heard in the past. But it's Fargo, the movie Fargo and Twin Peaks to a T.
And Lizzie likes it, doesn't she?
Yeah, Lizzie likes any game where there's puzzles. She may not be able to solve some of them because some of them are a little tough, but she did solve quite a few of them. But it was a fun game that we played. Lizzie, myself, Mrs. Bosnian, and our oldest daughter played some of the first one with us. It's just a fun game to kind of sit together and play. But I mean, the Back to the Future adventure games are great. So it's the same thing. Sam and the Max, Devil's Playhouse, fun game. Puzzle Agent 1 and 2. Walking Dead. I mean, these are all great games. In fact, I have not played The Walking Dead yet because the wife wants to play it with us.
Oh, Boz, it's very good.
So anyway, those are the two deals of the week. Two great Humble Bundles. If you've got some money or talk to your parents, I mean, you can get some quick, great games for low costs. I mean, if you've got the money, you can bid, buy it at a higher place. Some people put, like Notch used to go crazy on Humble Bundles and put thousands in just to be on the top of the leaderboard for how many people have paid, what amount. I don't know if he still does that or not. But great games. Great company, Telltale. All right, so let's move on to our last segment, and that's your guys' questions. So this first one could be interesting. The first question is from General Muffins, and I'm assuming this is a he, could be a she. If you could pick any video game that is somewhat tied in with a TV show like The Walking Dead, what would it be? Now, I was a little confused at first by this. When I first read it, I thought it went one way, and I think that's the way we're going to try to answer it. If he's just asking if we had to just pick one of the current games that's out there that's based on a TV show, what would it be? I'd pick The Walking Dead because I think it's probably the best current adaptation of a TV show. Maybe you guys would have some other opinion on that.
I'm not really sure what other games there are that's based on TV shows.
The current one right now is that Defiance show has got a game.
Yeah, it's a bit hard because in the UK we don't get Defiance. I don't think is shown over here yet, so I don't
the Doctor
know
Who
many.
has a few games.
I didn't watch Doctor
Oh,
Who.
the adventure games are good. I've played some of those.
So I mean, there's some out there, but I think Walking Dead's probably the pinnacle. But the way at least I want to take this question, I think makes more sense for the podcast. If we could see a TV show tied into a new video game, what would we like to see? Danny.
Stargate.
Did you know they're making a game already for Stargate?
Well, there you go then.
It's going to be an adventure-based game.
You can go out now and buy it, Danny.
Well, at least I've heard they were. It's like an adventure-based game. I think similar to Walking Dead style. I heard anyway. There was going to be an MMORPG, but I think it got canned or something. But no, yeah, I would definitely love to play a Stargate game, Danny.
Kama, what about you?
Well, the problem is I don't actually watch that much TV anymore. I mean, I watch Doctor Who, I watched some of The Walking Dead.
Scrubs game.
Nah, that would be boring. Don't like being a doctor. I'm gonna go with Doctor Who because I think the adventure games were okay. I haven't played them, only seen clips of it. But maybe some different type of game for that.
I think there is the Infinity Clock, I think that's what it's called, game. I think River Song's in it as well. I haven't played it yet.
I only seen some clips of the game.
I heard it's alright.
Okay, well, Giz, one game. TV show game, what would it be?
Game of Thrones. I know there's already a Game of Thrones game, but it wasn't really received very well. It wasn't good. But I think, and there are really good mods out there as well, like Crusader Kings mod. There's some Mount and Blade mods and stuff that are really good. But like an official Game of Thrones game, and I'm sure at some point they'll make one. I think I'd like a sort of Skyrim-esque Game of Thrones game where maybe you could play maybe as existing characters and maybe new characters that you can make as well. And maybe you could join in some of the battles, explore the lands, like maybe do some quests. Maybe it could go back in time as well, to like the rebellion, like Robert's Rebellion. Maybe even further back or something, like a game like that. Maybe going through the history and then going to the present day of Game of Thrones. I think that would be really good, like a Skyrim-esque game like that.
I don't think there's ever been like a TV show that's kind of been brought into that Skyrim style genre.
Yeah, I think it has.
I think that would be difficult to actually make work. I think it could be one of those things that has a high chance of failure, not being respected by the fans.
Yeah,
I think Game of Craft is best suited, even though I would never play it, for a strategy game where
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
You said Game of Craft.
You said Game of Craft.
No, Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones is better suited for a strategy game because you're playing for the Game of Thrones. And you can represent all the different factions that want to be the king of the Iron Throne.
There definitely are lots of mods out there like that. I mean, there's some Age of Empire mods that are really good, but like the Crusader Kings mod, I think there's a really good mod like that. Like you strategize and you can play the different kind of kingdoms and stuff.
But I think if it was an official thing, that would be the most. I think that would be the easiest to do and have it be something people like. I think adventure game may be the second easiest for that. Kind of like what Telltale does. But a Skyrim type thing, I don't know. It'd be interesting, but I don't know if it would. I could see a higher value of failure on that one. Really just depends too. I mean, you got such a big world and a big universe and so many fans. It's hard to please them. For me, on this, I would like to see maybe a adventure game done in the Lost world.
Ooh.
There was a game based on Lost. It was terrible.
A good game. Kind of maybe even, harking back to the kind of like a pre-Lostish type video game, adventure game. Obviously Myst was hugely popular, where you're thrown into this strange world with strange devices and, you don't really know what's going on. But I think that could work. But I'm not really a huge fan, though, of playing TV show games. I mean, I just, give me whatever the current games are. I mean, I'm happy with the current stuff. and just the innovation that the game companies are doing.
I'll tell you what, Buzz, a game that would be really good, a justified game, but like Puzzle Agent. So you have to go around and like explore and find the baddies and
Yeah, I don't think it
capture
would
So they're
work.
just like Red Dead.
Red Dead. What?
I don't think that's anything like Justified, but I don't think Justified. I would rather see Justified as a first-person shooter, but I don't think it would work. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
he
it
doesn't
would be
really.
so loose.
Yeah, he doesn't shoot like that much. He does shoot quite a lot of it.
I think sci-fi stuff like Defiance probably leads itself into more like a first-person shooter because obviously they're doing that. Then the what was the one Starship Troopers? I mean that has had some video games. Leads itself because it's a lot of alien combat. All right, Abby, which this isn't our Abby, posted this question, and Danny, this is going to be your question. What's the difference in Xbox Minecraft and Xbox for the PC?
Well,
You said Xbox for the PC.
Oh, what's the difference between Minecraft for the PC?
Minecraft for the PC.
first off, there's a controller, which you don't have on PC. It's not updated to as far forward as is on PC. There is a border of how big your worlds can be, so it can't be huge. It's just as big as it can get on a map in Minecraft. You don't have much control when you have multiplayer. That's pretty much the differences, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be lagging behind the PC version when it comes to items and things added. Should be noted that Mojang does not develop this version. It's developed by a third party for Mojang and Microsoft or whatever. So there are a few things different. I mean, it's nice for people who don't have a PC, but I still think if you've got a PC, it's the best preferred way to play Minecraft.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on. Minecraft Freak 0115 or 0115 is the crew making less videos in summer because it's warm and everything.
Have you been to England?
I know, right? It's like raining every day here.
The answer to that is no. We're actually probably going to try to do more stuff and ramp things up this summer. So hopefully you'll see more good content from us. Obviously, kids are home from school. More people are watching videos during the summer. So, I mean, we're going to definitely try to ramp things up. Summer doesn't really change our schedules for the most part because, at least those of us who work still have to work. There are some who are in school who'll be out, so they'll be more free. But we're going to try to do more stuff and more exciting stuff and just new stuff and more live streaming, maybe more days where there's a couple videos. So hopefully the answer to that question is definitely no. All right, our last question comes from Cody 11533. And it's a video question, so let's listen.
Hey guys, Cody here. That Xbox reveal conference really got me thinking. In the next 5 years or so, if one of the big three console makers, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, were to drop out of making video game consoles and focus solely on games like Sega did, which one do you think it would most likely be? Thanks.
So, big three, 5 years from now, which one's the most likely to stop making consoles? Now, I think this is a pretty easy answer, but we'll see what you guys have. What do you think, Piper?
None of them. I think because the Xbox has got the new one coming out, and PlayStation's got a new one coming out.
Nintendo already has theirs out.
What's the Nintendo one?
Wii U.
Wii U.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. So yeah, I don't think any of them are at the moment. To be honest, I'm quite new to. Well, I'm not new, but this console gaming, I did it 15 years ago, and now I'm kind of trying to get back into it now. So I don't really know much about the middle bit. So I don't know how successful or what the failure of Sega was. I don't know anything like that, but. Yeah, so I'm pretty rubbish at this question. So my opinion is, they're all 5 years from now, they're all going to be still doing well. But PC is the way to go.
Okay, Danny?
I think Nintendo would be the one to stop making a console, just because they're quite far behind Microsoft and Sony, and they do quite well on their games anyway, and I don't think they do very well on their consoles. I think it would make more sense for them to go strictly games rather than their own consoles.
Okay, Kama?
I think none of the three, because all three, well, those are the big three, so they will never give up trying to outdo the other one in any way. I mean, okay, Nintendo right now just came up with the standards of the 360 and the PS3, and PS4 and Xbox One is coming out, which is probably going to be better. And but I'm sure Nintendo will add a new console while PS4 and Xbox One is out. So I don't think any of those three will be stopping making consoles in the next 5 years.
Okay, Giz?
Well, I think the question is most likely to stop making. So I think I'm not going to say none of them. I think Nintendo is the most likely because, like Danny said, it's the one lagging behind the most. If you look at kind of sale charts and stuff, you can see Nintendo is the one that doesn't make the most money. It makes the least amount of money, I think. But I do think that none of them are actually going to be stopping. But I think the most likely is Nintendo.
Okay. Now, I agree with Danny and Giz. I mean, most likely Nintendo. But I don't know. I don't really think that'll happen. I think it could be a smart move, though, for them on one aspect, because they could sell their franchise-type games, the Mario games, Zelda, for any of those other two platforms now. They could even sell them on the PC if they wanted to, or Mac, or whatever. So I think they've got a lot of franchises that they could really market to both consoles, which is, I think, what they would do if they left the console market. I disagree on one aspect. I think the Wii was the highest selling console of that generation, of the 360, PS3, and Wii. I think Wii actually outsold all of them. Not totaled, but I mean it sold more than the other two. Because the Wii was like super insane when it first came out, and it held
True.
it held its sales.
Even I got a Wii.
Now the
I think
Wii U.
I was thinking more about the games.
Now the Wii U is totally different right now. It definitely hasn't sold as well as I think Nintendo would like. But the thing about Nintendo is it'll sell more when some big games come out that are in the Nintendo franchises that everybody wants to play. People who are into those will then buy it. I particularly think, though, that Nintendo should drop out. I think they do well on the handheld market, and they dominate that. I think they should focus on that, and I think they should just sell their stuff for any of the consoles or the PCs. I think it would be smarter for them. I think they're all going to be around, though. I don't think we'll see them go soon. I just think Nintendo is going to struggle. I don't think the Wii U is going to be much of a success. It's just sales will pick up when some of these other games come out for it. Anything else on this subject?
Nope.
Nope. Just thanks for sending in your questions.
Yep. Look at the link in the description or in the show notes if you get it through your podcast for how to send your questions in. We enjoy your questions. We love it, especially when you do video or audio questions, so we can actually hear you and see you possibly. So those get a priority if we get them. But with that should wrap up episode 7 of the Crewcast. If you guys want to say goodbye, we will head out.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compass.